1, 0, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of normal, 7, 8, 9, plus 10 seconds.
A perfect liftoff.
Over 200 liftoffs have been possible because of one man.
PSLV negotiating the dense atmosphere.
The brilliant Nambi Narayanan was part of the core team at ISRO. A genius that even NASA wanted to get their hands on.
3, 2, 1.
In 1994, he successfully thrust India to the PSLV era. Conveniently, days later, Nambi Narayanan was branded a spy and put behind bars.
Rocket scientist.
We're just getting started.
Just as India was at the precipice of making it in the space race, a well-timed cocktail of political motivations, honey-trapping claims, and a global conspiracy derailed it all. Nambi Narayanan was later acquitted and vindicated.
श्री शंकर लिंगम नंबी नारायणन विज्ञान एवं इंजीनियरिंग
Nambi Narayanan.
This film means a lot. A lot in the sense it brings out my real contribution to the country. What I have done, starting from a small 600 kg toy rocket in liquid to a 60 tonner which is called as Vikas. That story, that contribution over the period of 19 years is very well brought out in this film systematically, step by step. It is not from a 600 kg I jump to 60 ton, 600 kg, 3 ton, and then some joint development in, it's a story which is worth watching for you to understand how difficult it is technically to make this engine. And incidentally, as you know, that this engine has never failed. 53 times it has been launched successfully and not even a single failure to ISRO's own missions, including Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan, and various PSLV missions, etc.
We have a liftoff. A perfectly normal liftoff.
So this story means a lot, and it brings out exactly what my contributions are. And also, it tells us how I suffered both in-house as well as outside to achieve this goal. And that is in a small scale, if I may say. It brings out the sufferings one goes through in the process. So that's it. I wanted people to know it, and people are going to know about it. The allegation is that I have sold rocket secrets. Assuming that I keep telling that whatever I have done for this country doesn't mean that allegation is true or untrue. My job at that time, till that time, I was getting paid for the job, and then I had a dream. I had a dream of making this country as a superpower, space power. I never thought that it is necessary for me to boast around and talk about it, etc. And there are certain areas where it is not necessary, it is not wise to talk about many things what you have achieved, because I don't want the entire world to know what we are doing in depth. That is one part of it. But the other part is, now I am being told that I am charge sheeted saying that I have done this crime. So at that time, in my presence, in front of me, it is necessary to prove that I am innocent. So I kept on talking about that. I didn't do this crime. I have not met these ladies. I don't know anything what you are talking about. And my mind was telling me that I have to prove that I am innocent, which I was working on. It never occurred to me that by saying that I have contributed this much to the nation, etc., will help me out in that sense. That's the reason why I was not screaming. You see, the point is certain aspects of the cryogenic contract with the Russians. It was to be scrapped based on the US direction. and then the associated activities with that, which was done with the knowledge of some of the very top officials of ISRO. I felt, and it is mandatory, and I also think even now I am right, not to talk about this in public. It is not necessary. Why should I talk about it? What is necessary is to bring that technology to the country and then make the country powerful and then meet my goal, namely that space power. So honestly, even today, I never feel bad for not talking about it. Why should I talk about it? What do I gain by that? By talking about it, do you think that I will prove I am innocent? But I have to prove my innocence through the other methods. I have not seen this. I have not seen these girls or ladies you are talking about. So that is how it went through. It is also, this is known to the chairman of the organization and to the topmost people of the organization in the country. So there is nothing for me to talk about. In spite of that, this is happening to me. So to whom should I go and tell that I have done this much? And why are you telling me that I have done this crime? To whom? To public? I don't think so. People who mattered, they knew what is what.
Wow.
You see, this is most important for me. Take for example, during the year 1994, we never had the cryogenic technology. The cryogenic technology comes 10 years later. But the allegation is I have sold the cryogenic technology. Now the cryogenic technology is not there with us, is known to all, everybody. Number two, they say that this cryogenic technology is used to make missiles. Even today, there is not even a single missile in the world using the cryogenic technology. Now, these are two facts I just presented for your information. Now tell me, forget about this case. These are the two allegations. Now tell me why this, you think that this allegation, these truths are not known to the people concerned, including my chairman, ISRO? They know. But then the question is why they didn't answer. I think you should find the answer from them, not from me. But I can try to tell them why they should. It was a shock for them. They did not know. See, in ISRO, we are a different community. This community minds its own business. Now, all of a sudden, something comes like this, they were all wonderstruck. But why I say this is, after some time, after 2 years, the people like Professor Sadish Dhawan, Professor Yourop, Yashpal, University Grants Commission Chairman, Professor Chandrasekhar, and Rodam Narasimha, all these people came out with an open letter. In that open letter, they categorically said what we are talking about. That is 1994 this case occurred, this was 1996 or 97. They came out with an open letter published all over the press. Now my question to you is, can I say my people didn't react to this? The point I can make maximum is they didn't react in the proper time. They didn't say this in the proper time. But then still your question is valid. Even for a day, they say, let me not ask any other favor from them. I am not asking any favor from anybody. For that matter, I don't want their support at all. My point is that, is it not true that we didn't have the cryogenic technology? Is it not their duty bound to say this loud and clear? We didn't have this technology, how the hell we can sell this technology?
That's that.
We would have made the cryogenic technology perfect as originally planned. Originally our planning was cryogenic, we should have it by the year 2000, 1999 or 2000. That was our planning. Of course, this problem started in 94, 5 years earlier. If the Russian contract would have gone through, we would have got the cryogenic technology without any difficulty. But even when the Russian contract broke, if this November 30th episode has not taken place, I feel I would have continued the work on the cryogenic and we would have met the schedule. Maybe 1 year delay, could be. Which means what? Which means you have a higher payload carrying capability. which means that you could compete in the international market for launching satellites. At that time, you must remember that the potential launch market, satellite market itself was in the order of about $300 billion. It is a large money. I'm not saying that you will get all the $300 billion, but if it is 50% or 25%, it's still a huge money, number one. And why I say this money will come to us, because ours is a reliable system. I told you earlier that the Vikas engine has never failed. Now, A, you are reliable, and B, your cost is 1/3 of others' cost. So it's a political market. A country which likes you will come to you automatically, and a country which is neutral will come to you because of the cost, and a country who doesn't like you will never come to you and you don't bother about it. So, but the point I am making is we would have made the cryogenic system much earlier. Then from there on, as you know very well, we have not planned for interplanetary travels, because Professor Dhawan made it very clear that he will do the planning only up to the launch vehicles for satellites. He wanted the next generation to take care of that. Now that planning would have started.
This nation never lost to its invaders. We defeated ourselves with our own swords and handed the nation over to them on a platter. And this grand tradition continues even now.
See, what you saw, Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan, are only time pass kind of projects. You know, we had the system, so why not we try that? And we successfully did that, Mangalyaan. We were only experimenting it. How the payload was peanut. It is, I think it's about 15 kg or so. So the Chandrayaan, Mangalyaan things would have gone, and then eventually we would have moved closer to Gaganyaan, what we are talking about, would have been realized. Then you will be competing with, I don't know, you see around you, you have an Elon Musk, you have other people who are conducting space tourism, you are conducting so many things, and you know, we would have become a powerful space country. From there onwards, how it will grow up is something which is to be seen, because we didn't plan it that way. But I'm sure you will not be in this set of affairs what you are today. You would have achieved a very high carrying capability, business-wise, commercially, plus you would have also started the routing for the space travel. I didn't do my PhD under Professor Kroko in 10 months. It was a thesis master's degree in 10 months. That is number one.
Okay.
Number two, you mentioned that by targeting me, they were trying to do something. Actually, they were targeting a project. Now you happen to be in that project, and so you happen to become the victim of the whole thing. What I look at is that I used to think loudly when people used to say that ISRO spends so much of money and you know they are not doing. I used to think that ISRO should generate its own revenue by doing the proper business. In fact, I was instrumental in many places for doing this approach. Because what is wrong? We are not doing anything wrong. And that way we wanted to achieve in the year 2020, not 2001 and 2002, we would reach a stage where we will be able to generate our own money. Now, the question is when here you become a commercial entrepreneur. Now, you are not being looked at as a military or that kind of a thing. If you come to business, I won't be able to stand by your side because of the fact that I will be charging, my cost is more. So that is the reason why the project was targeted. This is what... Actually, I was desperate, but not because of anything else, but because of the constraint which was brought in by scrapping the contract with the Russians. Otherwise, I was okay. But when this contract is going to be scrapped, please believe me, I didn't do anything illegal. I wanted to do something legal. Legally, the contract provides advancing the payment and advancing the supply. All we did was only that. People who were concerned about it probably did not think of that idea. They were agitated. They were probably, they were not happy. So I am only seeing the picture in a different way. I see a picture that there is a competition. You are likely to be a competitor. The competitor has to be. Actually, as I told you earlier, I didn't do anything illegal. I'm even now telling. What I did was, as per the contract, I have a provision to advance my payment, and they have a provision to supply the material.
They as in the Russians?
Yes, they have given.
Yeah.
Now the question is, they were afraid of many things, so they didn't want to, because this is under negotiation. They want to redraft the contract. Actually, they wanted to scrap the contract, where I used my, shall I say, intelligence in saying that, after all, the Americans are objecting to the fact that you are giving me the technology, right? So don't give the technology. You don't have to scrap the contract. Now instead, you just give me hardwares. You just give me engines. So no technology is given. Then they said, it looks nice. So you check with the Americans. They checked with the Americans. They said, fine. So the technology is not transferred. Now that is the loophole with which we started working on it. And then eventually we got the materials which are within the contract. The contract is not redrafted, not scrapped. But at that time, we could not get our own airlines to carry this material. So
And they refused.
It happened earlier in a different occasion. So I said, fine. And this guy, Ural Aviation, was willing to do it for the same price. So this is the whole truth behind it. But that Karachi part of it is only to, anyway they have to refuel somewhere. Now they felt that we felt that it is better that if you refuel at Karachi, nobody will believe that this material is coming through Karachi. That is only the little logic part of it. It went to Karachi, got it
From where? From Russia?
And then from Moscow.
From Moscow.
Moscow. And those guys were interested in not, because they wanted to make sure that this is a legal material. They didn't want to. Then it came to Trivandrum directly. And then from Trivandrum, it didn't come to Delhi. The engines and the parts and the materials and the documents, everything was there in those 3 consignments. If I were to continue with that, yes, you are right. Now the point I am saying, what makes me agitated is that I was removed from there. When you are arrested, you can't enter into that territory. Now when you were physically removed and you can't do a damn, what do you do? But by the time 1.5 years passed, I got engaged in the other work rather than this work. And also it is difficult to store everything in your brain for more than that. You imagine the attitude with which you are subjected to. And you think that expect me to remember the cryogenic technology in my mind at that time when my wife and myself were removed from an auto rickshaw. So this is a very beautiful drama, beautifully knitted, all drafted. So I was forced to engage myself in something. I was removed from the scene. But I don't know, maybe it is only later it looks to me. Originally I thought that I am being removed. See, the whole thing is, it's not coming to my mind immediately. Once I started thinking after winning the case in the 96, then I thought, who could have done this? Why they should do it? Then slowly I did my own investigation. Actually, in the process, I learned quite a bit. And even now I can tell you in my own way that who are all the people behind it, who could have gone, what could have happened. But these are, I would say, probability, but it is going to, according to me, it is accurate. For example, when there is a Los Angeles Times reports that the Russian Senators Committee chairman wanted a cryogenic contract to be scrapped, why should I disbelieve in that? I believe that it has happened. That is a starting point. And then you issue notices to the Russians, and Russians were afraid. I have seen with my own eyes the letter written by them, though they didn't allow me to take a copy of it. So from that point onwards, it was very clear to me that this is where it starts. But then how the hell they can come and arrest me? They can't, because their color and everything is different. So there is somebody who is associating themselves with them. Now, then who could be that somebody? In that process, Arnab, it is a difficult process, and I think I am waiting for the Jains Committee's final trial. And they are given almost all the materials to conduct the trial properly, how they will conduct it and what it will happen.
I may be too old, too weak, and too senile to spend all that money, but I want every single pie of that compensation. Because unless I get that money, there will always be a sword of suspicion hanging over my family that we were a family of traitors. And after sacrificing all this, I will not have that. I'm not just fighting this for myself. How many people like me? I'm fighting for all those fools who've been victims of their own patriotism, and I will fight till my last breath.
Not during the period of this spy case, but earlier, when the contract was being scrapped and when we were trying to do something. I can't do it without the approval of people. I can't carry. So for that matter, when I asked, I got full support from them. Now, if that somebody is against the interest of the nation, I felt that he could not have given me that approval. He could have easily, in fact, that was the easiest thing for him to achieve what he wanted. So this is my assumption using my own experience, my own exposure to the entire case. Now, you could be correct. I am not going to rule out. Maybe not the topmost man, maybe somebody else in the vicinity of or some. I don't know. But as I said earlier, anything can happen. It is difficult to narrate what happened on that day. But globally, I can tell you that there was a physical torture which is shown in the movie, and much more than that. I was more or less forced to stand without water, without a seat to sit for close to 30 hours. Why I say I didn't have the track of time, but I know that it is close to 30 hours. Then I fell down. And in fact, they asked me that, in their own language, they asked me all kinds of names, and then they said, so you don't deserve a seat. Then I asked for water, they asked water on my face and things like that. So I asked them. Sometime one fellow, is an old fellow who came to me, he came to me and then said, Nambi, please don't mistake us. You come and bring a chair. And then somebody brought a chair and he asked me to sit down. I said, no, I won't sit. Why you won't sit? I said, you call me a traitor. Now, a traitor doesn't deserve a seat. Are you accepting you are a traitor? No, I am not accepting. You told me you are a traitor. Unless you withdraw that, I am not willing to sit. How long you will stand like this? I said, as long as my physique permits me, I will stand like this. Are you on a satyagraha? He asked me. So first time it occurred to me that this is what is satyagraha. So I believed I didn't believe in satyagraha, but if this is satyagraha and if this is going to create some kind of a change in their mind, I started liking it. But anyway, I fell down. When I fell down, I was semi-conscious. So they were trying to lift me and then put it on a cart. And then they were trying to talk to each other, saying that, you see the other 5 guys sitting there, no, we are the people who are going to face the music, we will be in trouble, etc., etc. They were blaming each other, somebody else sitting and controlling and directing them to do this. Okay, then this is what happened on that 30th and 31st of December. And by the time these guys came, CBI, they were supposed to hand over the case to CBI. I didn't keep track of time, light, because it was a closed room. And they were trying to take videograph of whatever I am talking. And then later, which I understood, they produced the videos of people who were my colleagues who were arrested along with me. And some of them have accepted that they have done the crime. Then my video they couldn't give any because I didn't accept any crime I have done. But they were forced actually, and they were also maybe same 3rd degree methods were applied on them. But one thing became very clear, that somebody is after making us to say that we have done this crime. Okay. Now that somebody is an Indian. That much is also clear. Maybe it is under the instructions or as a favor to somebody else from abroad, which we are yet to understand. Now, who is that Indian is the question mark. Now, it could be a person from IB, it could be a person from the Kerala police, or somebody who is directing them, could be somebody else also, we don't know. But we have reasons to believe how things are going in that mode. For example, when they come to know the flight was coming through Karachi, which was considered to be some kind of a secret matter, that makes it very clear that they were told that the flight is going. And who could have been it? It could have been. It is not suddenly the Prime Minister or Chairman ISRO. It is somebody else. These are the kind of informations you have. With this, you have to complete the cycle of investigation. See, you are now talking about 18 people who are suspected to be the accused. Now, they have been interrogated or being done. That work is right now going on. Some of them may confess, some of them may tell who told them and why I don't know what they have told. America has not done a crime in respect to Indian angle. They have done and tried to protect their interest. They wanted no competitor for that particular technology. In fact, it is their job. It is our job to see that we do this and then get this done. Now, here we have some people who were working against our own interest in India. The only thing is I can only say with some probability theory, somebody from IB, somebody from Kerala police, we don't know. This can be brought out by interrogating them properly. It could be from IBs, it could be from that somebody, whether he can be connected to the topmost in the country.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Honestly, I don't know. But personally, if you ask me, none of our politicians would do a crime of this nature.
Why do you say that?
Because they will be suddenly aware that they will be caught. On the other hand, they may be corrupt, they may
Caught
be...
in what?
Caught by law. Let me tell you, I happen to have some discussions with the topmost people during the case period. At least to me, they were not during the period of this spy case, but earlier, when the contract was being scrapped and when we were trying to do something. I can't do it without the approval of people. I can't carry... So for that matter, when I asked, I got full support from them. Now, if that somebody is against the interest of the nation, I felt that he could not have given me that approval. He could have easily, in fact, that was the easiest thing for him to achieve what he wanted. So this is my assumption using my own experience, my own exposure to the entire case. Now, you could be correct. I am not going to rule out. Maybe not the topmost man, maybe somebody else in the vicinity of or some, I don't know. But as I said earlier, anything can happen. But here I am...
Who is the topmost person who you are referring to?
I was talking about the Prime Minister.
The then Prime Minister was P.V. Narasimha Rao.
Yeah, P.V. Narasimha Rao.
You had spoken to him?
Yes.
Personally?
Yes. He asked me the questions, whether anything is illegal, whether anything... I said nothing is illegal, everything is legal. Then he said...
It was a phone conversation?
Pardon?
A meeting? It was a meeting or a phone?
It was a meeting in his own. Actually, Chairman ISRO was also there.
Chairman ISRO was
also there. So we didn't do anything illegal. We were doing legal, but we wanted to get the approval for processing purposes. For example, when there is an Air India who can bring in this material, why I went to Ural Aviation, I have to explain. So I told that this fellow doesn't want to, and I have no time to do that. All I want to do is faster. So I have to go for Ural Aviation, and then for which is a purchase violation. It is not, you can't explain it. So I told, he said, yes, I approve it off. Hand over the case to CBI, and then CBI, the case was handed over in 3 days' time, something very fast. 30th November I was arrested, 5th of December the case is with the CBI. Now, a reliable agency, and it is out of the hands of some people who are fabricating it. But somebody is arrested, yes. I know that he is...
But the charge against you exists?
No, it is. But let us see, the court is there and then the materials... No, I am only trying not to defend anybody. I am only rationally thinking, because I am the agitated fellow.
Yep.
If I would have suspected him, then I would not be talking like this to you. I would be saying, yes, I also suspect him. But I feel this is somebody else. Now, that somebody else for not only one reason, there are many reasons for this. We have to, for example, if somebody is asking me, why you went to Karachi, then I look at him. Then I say, who is his boss? Then later when he comes and talks, see, I did for the 27 years, not just kept quiet. I went and met people, many people, including you. I have met press people, I have met media people, I have met police people, I have met retired IPS officers, retired IB officers. So many people I have met, including some politicians, only to understand what went wrong. So I am not in a position to agree to what you say, but there is a possibility what you say could happen. 94 the case happened, 96 I was cleared by the CJM court, 98 I was cleared by the Supreme Court. Afterwards, till 2018, I was fighting the case, primarily an attempt to punish those people who have done this crime. So I was asking the CBI why they could not proceed against the people whom they think as the criminals. But the CBI said that is not in their terms of reference. They found out this case is not there, so I said it is unfair. You should find out. But they didn't cooperate with. They didn't do it. That's a fact. But I asked them. They didn't do it, and they justified it, saying that it is. See, in this country, a helpless person like me, the only savior you see in the visibility is the court, judiciary. So I went to judiciary, kept on fighting the doors, till I achieved what I wanted. What I wanted to achieve was to punish those people. So I think we have reached a stage where so many people are now named as suspected, accused, and there is going to be a trial between the CBI and those people. I feel I have achieved my job which I wanted. I am not still fighting. I am only a primary witness in that case between the two people. Maybe my style of functioning could be like that. When I talk of combustion instability, combustion itself is a complex subject, and when you are talking about instability, you have 13 variables, but you have only 10 equations. So with that, you have to solve the problems. It's difficult. I consider anything which is given to me, consider that it is possible to do. Nothing is impossible to me.
For us Indians who have to walk for 2 kilometers to get 3 liters of drinking water and use it between the two of us for 3 days.
So this is the way I train my people. This is the way I talk to them. This is the way I think about it. And this is the way I have won the case. In fact, honestly, I'll tell you, it may appear when I said that if November 30th, if this would not have happened, we would have become in par with any other country. I mean it. It is not that I forgot about technology. It is anything is possible, provided you have the mind and willpower to do it. Otherwise, what do you think we would have done on this Vikas engine? It is an engine which never fails. It is not just a joke. It is a complex technology. Now, the question I am saying, it is my style of functioning means I am not underplaying. I am saying all my people, whomever you meet today, they all will share for them nothing is complex. Yeah, okay, when we failed, I'll tell you one narration. When everything is solved, the problem is solved, we were going for the final firing of a full stage Vikas engine. It failed in 45th second or something like that. Everybody was upset. Honestly, we go systematically, this is a flight hardware. Everything is considered to be. Believe me, none of the people in my team were upset over that. They were all looking at each other with a questioning attitude. What could have gone wrong is the question. And believe me, I am telling you this for record. We found out the reason, which was not easy to find out. And within 48 hours, we solved the problem and they refired it once again. Here I have to insist. When I say in 48 hours I solved the problem, means I made a tank. This tank, one company took 2.5 years to make it. 2.5 years. Now we found out the problem with the tank. So we took out the tank, we cut it open, and then we put our own things there, and then set it right, all in 48 hours. That is where the whole thing comes. See, you identified the problem, you found out a solution, and you executed a solution, and you successfully fired. Anxiety was there. Anxiety was there because, it's the end of a program. The Vikas engine in its full form is to be fired successfully with all its paraphernalia. So one remember in Vikas engine when we fired it in France, only one engine was there we have, or 1.5 engine. I should say one full engine and then some parts. And Professor Dhawan told, I won't give you anything more than that 1 crore. And out of 1 crore, 65 lakhs goes for the fuel alone. And all climaxes are there. So we went there. And just to make you comfortable, 39 boxes were shipped by us from here to France to test the material. 3 boxes were missing. And the damn 3 boxes went to Scandinavia somewhere. Your question is, I was anxious. What the hell, we have come here and I never had any. All right. So point I am making is, we got it. Then we reassembled it and loaded the whole thing. Every day they will come and load the propellant. Their condition of the wind should be in a particular direction, in a particular velocity. So today they were supposed to fire, wind was not in favor, call off. Like that they went for 21 days, every day. So we became also fed up, what the hell. The 21st day, everything is found suitable, so we are going ahead. So we went ahead, we were all set. Condition we have told to all the people were 140 seconds firing. That is a requirement. But I told the man who is in charge of the firing that you look at me, I will let you know whether you stop at 140 or not. So it was going to 135. He looked at me. I simply called him, gave him a signal to proceed. 140, 150, 160,
180.
180, 179 point something. Then finally we stopped it at 180, 179 point something. Why I went to 1, that is the capacity of the tank. You can't have more than that. No, question is, you ask, your question I am now answering. If I were shaky, if I were a little bit anxious or a little bit uncertain, do you think I would have gone? I became, I don't know. I started losing my faith in the entire thing. So many adjournments were there. I go there, they will say today's case, they will call and then they will adjourn it. The other side fellow would not have come. Like that, 19
You fly from Trivandrum to Delhi.
I have to fly from Trivandrum to Delhi, Supreme Court, to and fro travel charges, that's about some 25,000 rupees, plus stay another 25,000 rupees. Then the lawyer on record, 25,000 rupees. Then the real lawyer is 1.25 lakhs. Imagine totally it will come to something close to 2 point something. Like that 19 times.
19 times.
Then I said, this is the end of it, I am not going to go anymore. And luckily, as I was hoping, God came to my rescue. And the same 3-member bench who was listening to this, they didn't want any other conviction. They are looking at a person who is consistently coming for 3 years, sitting in the front row, listening adjournment and then vacating. There is nobody else coming. Like that. And then afterwards the drama was interesting. Actually God was playing. The 3 judges were answering questions of the opposition lawyers. I didn't ask. Only one thing I was asking was when they were asking for compensation. I kept on telling that I didn't file this case for compensation. Please look at my prayer. I have not asked for compensation. It doesn't mean that I am oozing with money. I have requested you to punish these people. And that too, such a crime should not take place anymore in this country. Anyway, that worked. They constituted the Jains Committee, and Jains Committee was headed by a retired Supreme Court judge, and that commission came with a recommendation of this. And now the point I am making is, eventually I have won. But a process could have been slower. But anybody would have run out of patience. I am not saying no. And more importantly, I consider God to my help. Gave me not only the mental strength, but my life. See, I am old. I could have kicked the bucket any time. The case would have been over. Nobody would have bothered to look at it anymore. So that way I feel. Then afterwards something dramatically took place. The Kerala Chief Minister came and outside the court he settled the matter. So my point is, yes, we are delayed. I agree with you. And still the punishment has not taken place. I agree with you. But your suspicion of somebody else would have played the role in the conspiracy. Yes, I am not denying that. But my job is what is possible by a human being within the framework of law. I have done it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to take the story of the spy case, not about my achievements, not about. So here is a person who comes and then tells me that he wants to do that. And he is doing it. And it has its required effect on the people. Now what do you expect me to do? He is a God-sent person. Even in 2030, that is 8 years from now, you could enhance your payload carrying capability by designing and producing an engine which is much bigger than the Vikas engine. This is number one. You are talking about a space station. You can certainly launch a space station with that capability. Now, when you do these two, I told you long back what we were planning, you can catch it up. And in the international scenario, very interesting. America is giving everything to private companies. And Russia is in its own problem. And China, nobody bothers, though they are capable. We have a role to play. We have a space. We have to make use of it. What is required is the planning, funding, and the proper mindset. See, we were not having collaborative programs, for example. We are talking about our own companies coming to, they are asking for that we want to make PSLV rockets. I am just smiling. See, PSLV rockets are there, but you should why not you talk about something more, something big about, etc. So we can have collaborative programs and we can have much bigger program. 8 years is not a small period. And your resources are good. You are in a very good wicket. Now, only thing is you should have the mind and then willpower to do that, and you will achieve. There is no question about it. That is my prediction for our own space program. Thank you very much for that.
So